Within your baby's first year of life, their brain will double in size and form over 1 million neural connections every single second. That makes this the single most critical window for neurological development your child will ever have. And yet, most parents are told to just track milestones: first smile, first roll, first steps, and if something feels off, the answer is almost always the same: wait and see, or they will grow out of it. But what if your baby is technically hitting milestones while the nervous system is struggling underneath? Because what if the foundation is cracked and nobody is checking it? And that's what we're going to talk about today, because your baby's first year is about so much more than a checklist. Because here's something that most parents don't realize, right? A baby can technically pass every developmental screening while still having underlying neurological dysfunction that will impact their health, learning, and behavior for years to come. The conventional model is designed to check whether your baby can roll at 6 months, but it doesn't check whether that roll is symmetrical, coordinated, or even built on proper foundational development. Many families are going to be coming into our office and they're saying the same things. I knew something was off, but everyone told me not to worry. We hear this every single week. Now, your baby's nervous system is the air traffic controller, right? Now, during the first year, your baby's brain has this extraordinary ability to form new pathways and adapt called neuroplasticity. That same neuroplasticity that makes rapid development possible also makes the nervous system uniquely vulnerable to stress. This is where subluxation, or the neurological interference from prenatal stress or birth trauma, can develop early and create lasting patterns and dysfunctions, which is something we see all the time. This left long enough will create something called dysautonomia, which is this imbalance between the gas pedal, which is the sympathetic nervous system, and the brake pedal, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, throwing everything off balance. Because when the foundation is stressed, every milestone that follows is built on shaky ground, right? Now, remember, every milestone, especially we're having this conversation about primitive reflexes and things like that all the time. These milestones are actually a neurological test. See, your baby's ability to latch and feed is their first major neurological assessment. It requires multiple cranial nerves and precise timing between the nervous system and the muscles. Head control at 8 to 12 weeks tells us how the cervical spine is developing and how the neck muscles are developing, the deep neck muscles, how they're developing. The 4-month sleep regression isn't a regression at all, actually. It is evidence of major neurological reorganization. Crawling is one of the most significant neurological milestones. See, it stimulates balanced development of the brain's hemispheres and builds a foundation for walking and reading. Babies who skip crawling or crawl asymmetrically will often struggle with learning, coordination, and behavior regulation. See, the sequence of development matters far more than the speed, right? So we're not just trying to kind of run through all these developmentals. We're trying to make sure that they're hitting them in sequence to let us know that the nervous system is not skipping any patterns. Now, what can actually happen is what we like to say the perfect storm that's going to disrupt the development, right? The perfect storm is actually going to describe how multiple stresses stack up and overwhelm your baby's developing nervous system. It starts way before birth, actually during the prenatal stress and the chronic stress during pregnancies, which is going to start affecting the fetal brain development. Then you tag on things like birth interventions like Pitocin, forceps, vacuum, C-sections, which can start placing significant pressure on your baby's head, neck, and their nervous system. After birth, the disrupted sleep, the overstimulations, early antibiotic exposure, and feeding challenges, they're going to start piling onto this more and more ever-growing perfect storm. See, each layer pushes the nervous system further into sympathetic dominance. It gets stuck in fight or flight, where they should be calm and regulated. See, and the whole point is helping parents understand this isn't about guilt. It's about recognizing why some babies struggle more and how we can actually help, and why the wait and see misses this window. See, conventional care is going to be checking these milestones, whether they're happening in this broad time ranges, right? Not how well the nervous system is actually functioning. So your baby can actually pass a screening while they're compensating through tension patterns, asymmetrical movement, or skipping developmental stages altogether. Now, when parents express concerns about feeding, sleep, or excessive crying, they are often told that these are normal variations. See, this approach will miss this critical window when neuroplasticity is at its peak, and gentle support can have the most profound impact. Now, what conventional care often will overlook is the assessment of subluxation and dysautonomia, this interference and imbalance that doesn't show up on standard tests. The reality is, your instincts matter, because if you're watching this and if you've been here, you as a mom and a parent know that something is off. And what we want you to know is that your instincts matter. And if you feel something is off, Trust that. Right now, at our offices, we're going to be using advanced insight scanning technology to objectively measure your baby's nervous system function. These gentle, non-invasive scans, they are designed to measure heart rate variability, muscle tension, temperature regulation, and then at that point, if we can find where the issues are coming from, that's where we can go in and do our pediatric adjusting. Now, adjustments for infants use an incredibly gentle touch. There's often no more pressure than you'd probably use to check the ripeness of a tomato. Frankly, it doesn't even look like much is happening, but that is the point. That's a well-trained pediatric adjustment. Now, our care is also designed to adapt to each developmental phase. See, early weeks will focus on regulation and feeding. Later months, we support motor development, sensory processing, and social interactions. Rather than waiting for problems to develop, we are taking a proactive approach, supporting optimal functioning from the very beginning. Now, this is something that all the babies that are born into this office are able to experience, because many families will, when they start bringing their babies in, they will notice that they're remarkably improving in feeding, sleeping, development, because when subluxation is addressed early, these issues don't arise and they can't, wreak the havoc on the nervous system as it's starting to develop. Now, your baby's first year, and this is, if anything I want you to take away from this is this, that your baby's first year represents the greatest opportunity you'll ever have to positively influence their neurological development and long-term health. The patterns that are established during this time last a lifetime. So if you sense something isn't quite right with your baby's feeding, sleeping, development, or regulation, trust your instincts. You don't have to wait and see. Click the link in our bio, DM us, or comment below to schedule your baby's first neurological evaluations with us at Inspire in Dallas, Texas. So your baby isn't just learning to eat, sleep, and move. They are building the neurological foundation for their entire life. Let's make sure that foundation is strong.